At Mavens, and I am joined by
Anna. I'm Carolina, and I work as a technical architect in Mavensmate.
Thank you. So, first thing we want to clear up is Mavensmate, which one's which? Mavens are a consulting company. We are day-to-day consultants. We work with healthcare and life sciences companies. If you're interested in a job, come and speak to us afterwards. That's the little pitch done. A few years back, our CTO, Joe Ferraro, the famous Joe Ferraro, was using Eclipse and just hated it. Like, no one likes Eclipse. It's just, it eats memory, it's slow, it's like trying to do everything. It's like that, have you ever seen that massive Swiss Army knife picture? It's that, isn't it?
Awesome.
And he was using TextMate. Who here remembers TextMate? Yeah, back in the day. No one could get that anymore, can they? So, yeah, he was using TextMate, doing a lot more Ruby stuff. It's just around the time that Heroku was bought. Excuse me. And so he wanted to do Salesforce and TextMate. In Mavens, we were using TextMate, so he wanted to help Mavens use TextMate, and he came up with Mavensmate. And it started off as a Python app, I believe it was, or it may have even been a Rails app back then. No, so it was a Rails app. Then it was a Python app. Now it's a Node app. Joe likes rewriting it. I was joking with him when there was Node COBOL released the other year that he's going to have to rewrite it in COBOL now, which he did not take kindly to. So Mavensmate is completely open source. So it's only named Mavensmate because when Joe did it, he was trying to help us out internally and thought no one else is going to give a damn about this. And then suddenly it became the most popular open source IDE there is out there. And it's gone through a number of versions. People have probably been using it with, in different looks and feels it had. The way it's set up at the moment is you have an app that is a Node.js app, excuse me, running in Electron, and that runs on your local machine. And it has a bunch of APIs on there. And one of the tips you're not going to get today, but you're going to hear anyway because freebies are good, is that you can actually run Mavensmate just as a Node instance and have a command line. So if you want to use Mavensmate on the command line because you're hardcore and you like Emacs, go for it. But for normal human beings, there's a desktop app that runs. You have a local HTTP server, therefore, and any one of your plugins can then communicate with it. That's how Mavensmate can be integrated with Atom, with Sublime Text, with VS Code, is because it's just a local server running, okay? It's nice and easy to connect to. All of these apps, so both VS Code and Atom actually also run on Electron, which is an open source kind of container built by the guys at GitHub, I believe, originally started it. And yeah, they all have their own way of doing plugin, and then it just talks to Salesforce. So that's what Mavensmate is. As it's open source, please contribute. If Carolina scrolls up a little bit or down a little bit, whichever the correct term is.
And this is what I will be doing all the time.
Yep. So a little bit further down, please, Carolina. There's a list of people all the way down the bottom, basically, I think. And there's a bunch of contributors that are there at the moment. There's a bunch of documentation that is getting built up. Like, Joe is the driving force behind this. Joe has done a lot of work, given a lot of man hours onto it. But he will personally tell you that the reason he does it is to learn new technology. He's rewritten it a number of times and likes to play with new technologies on it so he can learn it. And Joe is pretty good at these new technologies, I can tell you. I'm trying not to swear on camera. Very aware of that right now. But yeah, big thanks also goes to these other guys. Ralph and Justin don't work for Mavens, but Kyle and David do. There's a bunch of us as well, so I help out with a lot of the testing. I helped Joe redesign the UI recently. Carolina helps out with testing. Kai and a bunch of others in the US also help out with testing. So it's a community effort. If there's a feature you don't have in there that you want, and you come up to me at the end and say, it'd be really good if Mavensmate could you have a word with Joe? Like, do you know what I'm going to tell you to go and do? Download it, build it yourself. It's really accessible and easy. And I actually used it to help me learn how to do Node.js. Okay? So it's a really good piece of kit. So that's tip number 1 then. Go and contribute to it. Help out. Answer an issue. Help people figure out why they can't install things. Okay? So that's tip number 1. I'm now going to hand over to Carolina, who's going to give you slightly more practical and slightly less angry tips. And I will pass. Oh, you've got a mic already.
Oh, yes. I am VIP, you know. Okay, guys. Well, you saw this, and maybe you are waiting for the presentation and the slides. But you know what? We are hard code here, and we like to leave it at the edge. Maybe we are so silly, but we would like to do this session as a demo. You are not going to have slides. We are going to do the tips straight in the Mavensmate and in an editor. But maybe you are thinking, well, we would like to get this tip later on and try at the house. We will share with you all these tips that we are going to explain here today, and you will be able to see them at home, videos and everything, but we will share it with you at the end. This is the key to keep you here and don't lose the people. Okay, to do that, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to Sublime, one of the text editors that we are going to use. I have here a simple Visualforce page, right? And this Visualforce page has an Apex image. And this Apex image has a URL for, I am Spanish, I couldn't say it in another way, to a picture in a static resources. Then if I go to my browser, I created a simple tab that is going to show this Visualforce page. And where are my pictures? Okay, my pictures are in static resources. And seems like everything written here is okay. Then, I have to download the static resources, I have to unzip them, I have to change them. And it's a simple picture. It's not CSS, it's not JavaScript, it's simple as that. Imagine that it's CSS or JavaScript. It's like, oh, hell, sorry.
For anyone who was in the other session I did earlier, and was listening about bundling and minification, that just slows everything down on this. If you have to take everything down, minify it, bundle it, push it back up every time.
Then one thing that I use nearly every day is I'm going to Command Palette, and I type create resource bundle. And this is going to allow me to pick the static resources that I want to modify. Once I pick my static resources, I'm going to check what is going on inside. And usually I forget the things. I forget the keys. I forget where I parked the car. I forgot to, to add the pictures. You see, this is what was going on. Then the only thing that I need to do is to add the picture within the file that has been created, the folder that has been created.
So just real quick, one of the things that Carolina showed up there was the command palette. Who here knew that there was the command palette? So about 50% of the room. So you get the command palette in every one of the text editors that it is bundled in with. And most of the features are just hidden away in there because, there's not a great little logo for creating a resource bundle. And you end up with a really convoluted screen. So yeah, sorry.
No, please. And here you can also do it this way, but obviously it's easier to use the command palette. Anyway, coming back, we have we have the page, right, that is there. Now, we modify the static resources, but obviously we need to upload them to the organization. In order to do that, the only thing that we need to do is, again, command palette, and we are going to do this time deploy resource bundle. And we are going to have the option to show us which static resources we've been modifying. Then I click that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, because this is a demo, live demo, simple but live. Yeah, it's working correctly. It's deployed. Then I'm going back to my browser. I refreshed. Fingers crossed. Yes, the pictures are there. Everything is working. Keep calm, keep calm. Then imagine you've been developing your application. You've been doing your development. You finish your development. And now what you usually do? What we usually do sometimes, nearly every time. Yeah, or two. You don't want to remember anything that you did now. You want to move this metadata to a different orgs. Maybe for your testers to test your development. Maybe to behave volume testing. Maybe you want to actually put the things to work. And you need to do it to several orgs. And maybe you think, oh, I need to create now the package, or I need to use a specific tool for that. Okay, I'm going back to Mavensmate. I'm going to my command palette, and I can do it through here, deploy to server, or if you like it, you can do it through here, deploy to server. And here you are going to have the option to deploy to different organizations. then you are going to move your metadata to different organizations. You select your target organization, okay, and you can validate your deployment, and later on, let's validate it. And meanwhile, it's validating, we can see the metadata that we are going to move to the other org. Okay, we don't have to move everything. We can select the metadata that we want to move. And once it's done, the validation is done, we come back to option, remove validate, and we can deploy to the target org. Okay, we have two tips. We have the resources, and we have deploying to different orgs. And what do you do next? Well, maybe your testers say, I would like to create a bunch of data to test your application, or maybe you need to run some of your static methods or something like that, and you need to go to, and again, to another tool, or you want to go to the developer console, but no, you can do it from Mavensmate again. And to do that, we have Apex scripting, and we have execute Apex. But we all know what is that, execute anonymous, execute Apex. What we really want to show you here is the new Apex script. We can create files where we are going to put our code, right? And we are going to execute that anytime with a simple click. And it's so quick and easy. And I think, Paul, you use it for running your tests.
So I use it for creating data and then deleting it.
Yeah.
So we all know that, as lovely as, so who here uses test data factories or has a class where they have like, a 300-line method to help them get the data set up that they need? So your customer comes back to you with a bug because you've written perfect code as ever, and you need to track that down. You need to, who wants to recreate 30 different objects and records again, and then you mess it up, and then that record's just useless for everyone. So yeah, I use it all the time just to create data and then delete it before someone sees that I've gone in and created Watermelon or Mickey Mouse 50 times.
Totally. Hi, Simon. Then here we have a new file, right, where we can create all this data. And the new file, you can have several of them, and it's here inside the Apex scripts folder. Then to do a simple test and to don't break anything and to prove you that it's working and to don't make the demo like a Windows where it's failing, I will create a simple account, okay, with English keyboard. Don't forget where are the keys.
So Carolina's going to swear at my keyboard now for a second. So while she's doing that...
Then cut this one.
What's really kind of cool about this and what we use internally is the fact that this can then be stored in Git. This is all just done on your local file system. So if you've got a useful script you want to share amongst the team on a particular project, you can stick it in there. Everyone can share it. It just gets stored as a CLS file. The file extension is really just arbitrary to make sure that we have something to edit onto and that the formatting shows up nice. But yeah, it's a really, really useful tool just as you're going through. Who here knew that you could do this? Well, you guys are very, very good. You'd be surprised, like, we were doing a dry run of this to someone internally the other day, and they're like, we didn't know any of this. It was like, you guys went with Joe. We didn't know. It does. Oh, yeah. You've ruined it. it. God, there's always one.
Here is this. Don't listen to him. And we have here our account. Then these are my 3 favorite tips that I wanted to share with you. The one regarding the static resources, the other one regarding deploying to different orgs, and the one that is running Apex scripts. And now I'm going to handle again to Paul, because he has the power.
So, you're right, Michael, it does create a script. So just to let you see where it is.
A little bit of help?
No, it's okay. I've got 2 hands. I'm sure I'll manage just about. So yeah, it will create a log for you. You can use that log to do it. It's really useful as well if you want to do any of the performance stuff. I've got it. It's fine.
Come on.
No, don't worry. I'm going to switch editors. So I don't like using Sublime Text anymore, and it's just because I'm a bit hipster about my editors.
Hey, come on, we need to show.
So the reason I like using Visual Studio Code as well is that I've got these wonderful little icons that show up in there. Don't know if like there's just, I mean, we'll go a bit off piste here, but if you're in Visual Studio Code, get VS Code icons. They show up really nice, and they know all the file extensions. So, yeah. Anyway, that's aside. So let's continue talking about the command palette, because that's really where everything's going to happen. So Command-Shift-P, yeah, look at that. So we've talked about being able to run scripts for testing or bits and pieces that you're working on. I was working on a piece of code the other day with a colleague, and for some reason, like we were expecting some results to come back, and they just weren't. And as ever, you're running like with 300, 400 records at least coming through in the query. We just wanted to see what's coming back. So the options are you go away and you run something and execute anonymously and push all that data out, or you can use SOQL. So you can write and execute SOQL straight from Mavensmate. See, there's one that we didn't know. I can see that in the audience there. So you just hit enter. What query would we like to run? Oh, hello, John. So I'm going to do an aggregate query because I'm that kind of guy. So we're going to do count, and we're going to do ID, and it's going to be from the account. Why not? Because we know that Carolina's put some accounts in there.
Yes, we have one, yeah.
And it will go away and run it, and then you'll see that we have this new SOQL area turn up, and this folder here will have all of the outputs from all of our scripts, or from all of our SOQL queries. That's quite nice, that, isn't it? Like, it comes back in the JSON format as well. So let me do another query, and let's see what we notice about it. So I'm going to do another execute SOQL. I'll just type in SOQL because it's not going to be fat fingers.
Told you.
Just so you're aware, this is exactly what I'm like when I'm coding at home for real as well. It's like singing fat finger songs to myself. So let's just select name and ID from account. Sorry, say that again?
When you are in meetings, you also sing that song.
Yeah, I sing that song all the time. It's because I've got terrible fat fingers. So we've run that one. So we get the JSON file back. We've just selected the ID and the name. Who here recognizes this? Anyone recognize what that format might be like? We have one. Go on, Dave. What's this look like? JSON. Looks like JSON. Where might you get this exact JSON payload from? The REST API. Points for that man over there. So if you are developing, not only can you use this to validate what results you'll be getting back when you're doing your own internal testing and running against Salesforce, so you can see that if you write that query, you're getting what you expect back. But if you're writing an integration with Salesforce, so you're doing something on Heroku, or you're writing a mobile app or whatever, and you just want to validate your query will bring back what you're expecting, and that you can test the format, you can do that from Mavensmate, and you get the exact same JSON back, because no one's going to be using XML, that you would get there. You get the URL to the record, you get everything you need. Like, how helpful is that? No one? No? All right, fine. Well, I thought, like, when I first learned about this, I was writing a React Native app, and I was spending hours, like, just having debugs in my React work, and you all know how useful are JavaScript debug logs, everyone. They're just like atrocious. And then I was whinging to Joe about it. He was like, "You do know we can do this, don't you?" And like, it's just fantastic. So I'm happy with it if no one else is anyway. Really, really useful tool. So there's that one. The final one, which most people don't use, but like I really like as well, is templates. Excuse me. So, you know when we go and create a new Apex class, so again, I'm going to do it from here. Oops. So I'm going to create a new Apex class, or an Apex trigger, or Visualforce page, and it brings up this screen here. So does everyone like the new lightningified UI as well, by the way? Yeah. There's a few more nods for that. No one cares about the SOQL queries, but it looks good in Lightning. Yeah. Like, great. I'll feed that back to Joe. Just make it look pretty and shiny, and people will be happy. Anyway.
I will.
So we're going to create a new Apex class, and we get to choose a template, right? Who knows where those templates come from? Anyone, like, just put your hand up if you have an idea of where those templates come from. Say again? Magic. Magic is a good answer. It is GitHub. Did you know that you can change where they come from? So there's this magic little wheel up here that's for your settings. And if we click that wheel, you get to see all of my secret Mavensmate settings, like I've got a secret deal with Dave Carroll that I have a special instance so that my Mavensmate runs quick. But what you can do is you can see here that you can have a value of remote or local. So first of all, you can have a local copy of your templates and decide to use that rather than going away and fetching the ones that are on GitHub. Okay? So that's quite nice if you want to make changes locally and work with them. If you don't want them stored up, I mean, yeah, everyone read about what happened on GitLab the other week as well, right? Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't want to store them, it's going to be somewhere in the, although this would all be on GitHub. If you have it set to remote, they're on GitHub, and then you just provide a reference to a particular project. So P. Battisson is my GitHub username. Please go and star all my projects so that it looks like I'm far more important than I am. We have Mavensmate templates, which is the name of the repository. I've just forked Joe's one because I'm lazy, but you can fork it, you can clone it, you can make your own, you can do what you like. And then we have the name of the branch. All that information's there as well for everyone. This used to be in a big, awful text file to set up, and now it's in a much nicer UI. So I am going to go show you that on GitHub. So let's go to, and I might need to get Carolina to time this now. Can I spell my own name? Yes, I can. All right, and where's my contributions? Because it will be like from 2 days ago, I imagine. There we go. So I've just forked this, and all you need to do is if you want to make your own templates, so say you've got an internal policy where you have to have a certain piece of documentation at the top. So some people use Apex doc, which is a bit like Java doc. Some people use JavaScript kind of style notations. You might just happen to have like the created date or whoever it was. You can include all that in here. So I've created a new Apex class one. And as you can see, in true Blue Peter style, here's one I made earlier. There's only a few of the Brits that will be laughing at that. There'll be anyone not from England is like, what the hell is he on about? So yeah, I've just made this. As you can see, it's a really detailed example. It says hello, and then you just pass in the parameters you want. Really quick and easy. The more tough part is having to go in and add it to the package file. And do you know how you do that? You copy and paste. So yeah, you copy one from above, you paste it down and you update it. Once you've added that in and you've linked everything up, so you've just entered the name of your own repository or you've set it to be local, you'll then have that available. And to prove it, because you probably all think I'm a liar, if we go back to my Launchpad view, so Project Launchpad, and I'm going to go to new Apex class again, and voila. Look at that, a live demo that worked. So we can put in a name here, so I'm going to call it John, Fat Fingers, all right. I was going to call it John is class, but we'll go for that. So Fat Fingers, and I'm going to create the metadata. Go away, churn about. I'm intrigued now to see, yep. So it's created it, and then if we go into Visual Studio, fatfingers.cls, and it has our comment at the top. Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful demo that was. If this was a magic show now, there'd be thunder and I'd leave. But yeah, so you can also add additional parameters in though. So if you are, everyone uses a trigger handler pattern, right? No one's like just being all sort of random and writing triggers and doing code in doing trigger logic in trigger files. No, good. This is a really good way of making sure that everyone follows that same pattern. Because it's connected to a repository, you can just have things stored locally. If you don't want to share your templates with the world, because not everyone wants to share their templates, you can just keep them local between yourselves. And more importantly, if you think that there's one that should be up there that's missing, that you think the world might benefit from, and you want to do the developer community and humanity some good, you can submit a pull request for what we've just shown you, and then you can go in, and if the team and the powers that be feel it would be useful, it'll get accepted. So that's my 2 tips. So we've got a bit of time left. Oh, we are going to... No, go on, you continue.
Why? No.
Well, no, so that's the 5 tips we were going to show you today. So number 1 was Apex scripts. Number 2, well, this is in the wrong order, but Apex scripts, static resource bundles, running SOQL. I'm going to forget the others now. Custom templates and deployment connections. There we go. See, I've done this before. So I'm going to hand over to Carolina.
No, hand over.
No,
We are not going to share any slides. We promise that. And because we are not going to share any slide, but we would like to share with you what we spoke here today. Here is where you can find everything. This is the information that you need. It will be a blog post where you will find the videos, where we will explain what we show you here, and you can review it at home simply and easily. And
Caveat, it will be up next week. It is not currently up there. But there's some really good information you should go and read anyway.
And this is our Twitter handler. If you have any question, here is Paul.
Mine's... So this is actually the only part of this that's going to go wrong. There's 2 T's. There we go. A failed demo.
I have a question.
Yes, go for it. Why not? Question time. Go for it.
What is en la nube?
En la nube, in the cloud.
Everyone heard that? Did everyone hear that question and get it?
I know.
So yeah, who has questions? Let's go around. As I think I've got the spare mic, I get to wander. Yep, back. I know. Well, I can only walk forward now, so that's good.
With the unit testing module in Mavensmate, which is really good, by the way, can we have the arcade games back?
There seems to be support from that for people, yeah. I can
That's our feedback.
put that in. Yeah, that's a good bit of feedback. Raise an issue
here.
around that and put it in there. I don't know where that went. I think it was because... So, first of all, this is going to be a statement that someone is going to disagree with. But Salesforce has actually got faster at deployments and running unit tests. And there's going to be at least one person going, shut up. But it truly has. When I was first using Mavensmate and got really good at Pac-Man, it was taking a lot longer to do so. But yeah, it's just Electron. So yeah, we can see what games. If you've got a game you want to submit, make a pull request. There we go. Next question.
Yeah.
There was someone else who had their hand up, I'm sure.
Yeah, here, Paul.
Oh.
First, thank you, because I use Mavensmate every day, and it's really, really helpful. I use it in Atom. I don't know if that's the hipster's choice these days, but there is a bit of an issue with autocomplete in, I don't know if it's just in Atom or if maybe in some of the other text processors as well, and sometimes some pretty wacky stuff comes out, like if you press space at the end of a line or hit enter, then some fairly random things will get added to the end. Is that something that's maybe on the list for...
Yep, so... This is, we don't have a safe harbor slide, so this is open source. You can say what you like. No one's going to make any purchasing decisions because it's free. There's going to be everything. So Salesforce have got this new thing coming out called DX. Everyone heard of Salesforce DX? Looking around at the Salesforce guys in particular. So we are working actively with the Salesforce team to try and integrate as much of DX as we can as possible into that. By doing so, a lot of the stuff that we're having to do now on the server goes away, which would be brilliant. And there'll be super new features that can be added coming to you at some future point, not to be determined. Yeah, so that will allow us to focus a little bit more on doing things like the autocomplete stuff, which if you're having issues, try refreshing the index, including the Apex tables. That's like, there's a symbols option in there. If you go into, now this is truly a live demo. So yeah, if we open up, I don't know where it is in VS Code, so go into, is it flush? No, it's logs.
Which one?
Oh, 1 minute, there we go. Nope, that's not there. Let's go into Sublime, because I know I've seen it in there, and I can show you at least what you're looking for. So you want to go to Utilities, refresh Apex symbol tables for this project.
You see,
I told
you, we needed to use Sublime.
I just don't use autocomplete. Like, I don't code. Yes, next question. What's the level of feature parity between the 3 versions? So as we've just seen, the Apex tables thing seems to be gone. They're meant to be pretty even. There is no hard and fast statistics that I know of. There's definitely things that Sublime will do that the others don't. And Sublime is the older one, so if you are wanting the most fully featured, go in Sublime. The other two are both still actively developed and actively used. David, who has done the majority of the work on the code one, He uses code every day and is talking to the VS Code product team. So they reached out a while ago to say, we want to help you guys build it. So they are helping there. Atom. So yeah, and Atom had a bit of a bad birth. And yeah, basically, who used Atom before it was version 1, which was only about 6 months ago? Yeah, who could use it for more than 5 minutes without their machine just getting eaten alive? I used to sit there and it sounded like my laptop was taking off. You couldn't use your laptop on your lap with Atom on because you just get a burn. So Atom's gone through a bit of a process in getting a bit more stable. It's still being actively developed. If there's things you find that aren't available, please, the only way we get feedback is typically through issues. So please raise them up as an issue. This is all done of evenings and weekends. But if it's something you think that you can contribute to and add to, please do so as well. And Simon has given us the 5. We're on Q&A, Simon. We're rocking it already. Yep. Next question, Simon. What do you want to know? Get out.
Go in.
So, who has some other questions, like roadmap stuff, things they'd like to see? Yes, Dave.
At what level?
Oh, you can have the microphone.
At what level is the support for Lightning component development?
Well, look at people going like. So I gave I built a presentation, a demo piece with Simon, who's just run off, for Salesforce at Dreamforce in 2015 in Lightning, and I did it all in Mavensmate. So you can build Lightning components in Mavensmate. In fact, Carolina, let's do this. Lightning.
Here we go.
New Lightning component. There you go. Controllers, helpers, styles, documentations, everything you need. You can create it. If you want to use your linters, you can get. So one of the reasons that that I personally use something like VS Code at the moment is, as I mentioned, I like some of the pretty icons because I'm just that way inclined. But there's really good support in things like that for like TypeScript and some of the ES script linters. I know Lightning doesn't have TypeScript support yet, guys. We're working on that. But yeah, so if you use Mavensmate and install one of the ES linters, you can get some really good feedback on the state of your JavaScript code as well. But yeah, Lightning is fully available. I've built Lightning apps for it. The ones that are in any of my videos have all been done in Mavensmate. Like I struggle using anything else. I struggle to use Mavensmate or a screen, as we've just seen. So, any other questions? Oh yeah, sorry.
Just a quick one on Lightning components. If you realize after you've created one that you want to add CSS, is there an easy way to do that if you didn't do it at the beginning?
Let's try it. So I'll be honest, like hand on heart, my way of doing it is I create everything because I'm greedy. But yeah, so let's create one, Carolina, without creating a style. I think the answer is we're going to have to go into the developer console and add it. You want only the create style? No, without a style, or the other way around. It doesn't matter. Just let's leave just the style out. And we're going to. You need to give it a name. Yeah. Shall we try? You need an API name, I think. Oh, it's true. Wait, Carolina. That'd be fine.
Hey, that's the same component I created.
Quick.
It wasn't your station, you know.
Quick, make sure we get the IP for that. All right, so yeah, open in. You go into Sublime. Go into VS Source. Yeah. Or it is so small here, you know. Test. Okay, so right-click on that now, on the test file, and go into Mavensmate and see if we can. Go try editing the project. Actually, see if not. If not, I've got a hack we're going to try now because I've not had this. Carolina, can you create a new file just using the normal new file? Yeah. And call it test.css. You have to right-click on the. Just save that. There you go. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Save. Okay. Error. Couldn't update Lightning components. Cannot read. No. So yep, you can't do that. We'd have to go into the developer console. If you could log that as an issue, that'd be great to see. But just make your CSS next time. Who's that in styling so late in the day?
Do you have any Mavensmate stickers you can give away?
No. So I have about 200 of them at home and forgot them. However,
Chris.
yeah, this is like this recording now is just going way off piece. Sorry. Who here runs a user group or a developer group or visits them regularly? If you want some Mavensmate stickers, catch up with me, drop me a line. I have hundreds, and we can get more done. So attend one of the user or developer groups, and we can get one sorted out for you, okay? Any other questions? Cool. Okay, hope you found that useful. Thanks, guys.